Well, I am so glad you guys are taking time to enhance your career, to become better than you were yesterday. You're obviously the kind of people who do that anyway, but you're taking time out of your day to be here to hear more about photography business in the Portrait Profits Show. And just so you guys know, this show is every single week. It's free. It's on Mondays, and it is a partnership between Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab. And so that's what's causing it to become free to you. We're working together because we want to uplift the photography community. And so we're bringing this to you every single week, and we hope that you continue to come. Javi is representing Digital Pro Lab. And Javi, would you like to share some things about Digital Pro Lab?
Yeah, no, like I said, Jim, thank you for having me. For those that tune in every week, I'm sure they're probably tired of hearing me talk by now, but it seems like we have a few new faces in the Zoom, so that's actually really good to see. But yeah, so for those of you who haven't heard me speak yet or haven't met me, my name's Javi. I do a lot of marketing outreach stuff here at Digital Pro Lab. But another big part of my job here is to help anyone who's kind of trying to get in touch with the lab, get set up with the lab. I work with a lot of our photographers who are new to the lab and getting them situated with their ordering software, as well as just kind of advising people on how they might be able to incorporate printing into their product offering. And so a lot of what we preach kind of falls in line with a lot of what Jim teaches here in a lot of his classes. And so this partnership really just made a lot of sense for us. We're really trying to help be a resource, whether it be through printing or through helping, get people connected with other resources in the photographic community. We really want to be here to help everybody in any way possible. And so we really wanted to work with Jim to bring you guys this information. I always say it, but there's a ton of resources out there on how to take really great photos. Not a lot of resources out there online on how to monetize that and the business end of it. And so I think Jim really does a good job of filling that gap in the market. And so, us being a photo lab, we really benefit when there's people out there putting out information on how to, bolster your business via printing. And that's one of the topics that Jim does touch on a lot. So, like I said, we're really happy to bring this to you guys. Every week, whenever we do one of these, we usually have some kind of a promo code for you guys as a thank you for tuning in. This week is no exception. This week, we're going to be giving away a promo code for a free 11x14 metallic print. That's metallic, not a metal panel, unfortunately. I'd love to be able to give everyone a metal panel, but it's a metallic print, so it's got like a gloss finish to it, but the white point is going to be a little bit closer to like more of a pearl, and so you get some really interesting interactions with light when you do that. But again, the code is going to be metallic at checkout, and that's for an 11x14. That code is live right now, and it's going to be good until midnight on Thursday. And so you'll have until midnight Thursday to use that. But again, I'll throw that in the chat for everyone to use. But, I really do encourage y'all to take advantage. If you're not already printing your work, come by, talk to us. I think it's just a really important part of the photographic process that I think has kind of gotten lost in the digital era. Like I said, it's kind of my job here to help you guys figure out how printing can best work for you. So I'll also put my email address in the chat. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and hopefully I can answer some of those for you. But yeah, I think that's all from us. Thanks, Jim.
What was the promo code again?
Promo code is metallic. So I'll go ahead and throw that in the chat. That's MET, yeah, ALLIC. That's 2 L's. But again, I'll throw it in the chat for you guys right now.
Awesome. Thanks, Javi.
Yeah, no problem.
You rock. A free 11x14. That's not a discount code. That's free stuff.
I'm all over that offer.
That's a perfect picture for it.
And guess who gets that? Just you guys. Because you actually are right here on the Zoom call, a free 11x14 metallic print, and that's only until Thursday. So it's a short period of time, which it should be, because if someone doesn't take advantage of it by then, I guess they're not interested, right? So thank you so much, Javi from Digital Pro Lab for supporting for years the local photographer community. You guys rock.
Javi, I really want to thank you for that. I guess 2 weeks ago, the promo code for the soft cover album. I love that thing.
Yeah, no, I saw that you placed. I think that we had a couple people take advantage of that one, and I saw that Miguel was one of those that got to print one of those through. I think personally, it's one of our most underrated products. We don't really move a lot of them. Maybe it's a marketing thing on our end that we just need to do a better job of getting out there. But whether you're just like saving them for yourself and something for you to flip through, or as a resource to kind of show to clients, your work, I think it's a really good product. For those who don't know what Miguel's talking about, I think 2 weeks ago, we did a free soft cover 10 by 10, 20-page book. And like I said, they're one of my favorite products here. I do, little projects on those all the time. So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. I have just a couple of things to share with you. For your calendar, I want you to, if you've got kids or no kids between 5 and 15, the annual San Antonio Youth Photo Tournament is on July 18th. So that's the annual San Antonio Youth Photo Tournament. It's on July 18th. The regular version of that from ages 12 and up is on October 17th. October 17th. Put that on your calendar. If you want more information, go to landersphotoschool.com and click on the banner that says upcoming events, and that will take you to the to that page that shows you more about the 3rd annual San Antonio Youth Photo Tournament and the 9th annual San Antonio Photography Tournament. So again, that's landersphotoschool.com. In fact, let me just share my screen real quick. So there you go, landersphotoschool.com. And that'll take you to this page of upcoming events. The schedule for Portrait Profits is on portraitprofits.com. So if you want to know what the upcoming titles are for the upcoming subjects, you can take a look at what's coming. So today it's What to Say on the Phone. It's the Family Portrait Edition. But you can see what's coming up in April. And it'll be done 1 month in advance. And so all you see here is the dates for May, so that you know when that's coming. But it's every single Monday. So I don't even know if you need the dates, but it's there. But that's what you'll see when you go to the schedule on Portrait Profits. And I want to encourage you to go to the Portrait Profits YouTube channel. Right now there's just 2 there, but we're going to be adding all the past episodes. This is number 7, so there should be 6 sitting here. But we'll be adding those here pretty soon to that page. But I want to encourage you to go to that page and subscribe. Right now we've got 20 subscribers. I'd like to see a 0, at least 1 0 added to that, and you guys can help me do that by going to YouTube and entering in the search Portrait Profits, and then clicking on subscribe once you get there, and then click the bell. That way you can get each time we add in a new video, it'll give you a message letting you know that it's there. So I'd appreciate if you took time to do that. Again, youtube.com, and then enter in Portrait Profits into the search, and you'll see us there. One last thing to put on your calendar. If you want to get away, I mean, by the end of the summer, it's going to be so darn hot, you're going to want to get away. So how about Colorado? The Pagosa Photo Workshops is puts on events throughout the year. And this next one is on August 8th, and it's for 5 days, August 8th through August 12th. And we'll be meeting in Durango. And so you can read the description here. There's even more information about what we'll be doing, information about what's happening, when we're going to be doing it, where we're meeting, gear requirements, all this kind of good stuff. And then the 3 teachers who will be there. Mark Langford is it was a local commercial photographer, but he has moved to Pagosa Springs, Colorado. And Chelsea Stills was a local photographer who has moved to Drake, Colorado. I'm not moving to Colorado, but I'm glad they're there because I can go visit them there. It's a pretty place to visit. And so I'll be meeting up with them in Durango for a fun getaway at the end of the summer to cool down just a little bit. And that's pagosaphotoworkshops.com, pagosaphotoworkshops.com. Now to what we have planned for today, what to say on the phone. Let me share in the chat just a little while ago. I put in a link to the handout. Did you guys see that already? Give me a thumbs up if you saw it. Okay, yeah, there we go. Thanks, Aaron. So if I need to send it again, let me know. You should be able to just go up in your chat window. And if you don't know how to get to your chat window, just hover over the Zoom window and click chat down in the bottom of it, and it'll show up on the right side of your screen. And that's how to get that. Does anybody need that handout? Let me switch to gallery view and see everybody's face. Everybody's got it, right? Okay, cool. Steve's got it. Thank you, Rita. Rita, I'm going to send it again real quick.
Where do I need to go for it?
It's in the chat window. Do you know how to open chat?
Yeah.
So it should be there now. I just uploaded it. You guys seeing it?
No, but I'll keep looking. You don't have to get behind for me. Just you can keep
Stacia,
going.
you're not seeing it either? Oh, okay. If you're on a phone, you may not.
It's because I'm on the phone.
Not be okay. So that's
Yeah,
I keep forgetting about that. When someone's on a phone, especially I think Samsung actually does allow it, or Android, but I think there's a security issue with Apple that they don't allow attachments. So you guys won't be able to have that. Sorry, but you know what? Put your email in the chat, and I'll just collect that email and I'll send it to you afterwards. Or let's see, Javi, I don't know if this is asking too much, but if anybody sends the email to you, can you forward that to them? Can you download it and forward it to them?
Yeah, absolutely.
No one's done it yet.
I'll just put your email in the chat. Yeah.
I have it downloaded already.
Yeah.
Or Miguel, okay.
Yeah, I already have it downloaded. I can send it.
All right. So Javi, I guess I won't need for you to do that. So Miguel will do it. Yeah, that way you've got it. And this is a worksheet that I'm sending you. There's some parts that are filled out, and there's other parts that we're going to be talking about, and you can fill in as we go. And so that's why I want you to, if you want it, that's why I want you to have that and be able to print it. So I'll give you just a moment, and we'll talk about a couple of things before we get into that part of it, to give you a moment to be able to download and print that should you want to. By the way, that's what it's going to look like. But before we get to that one, while you're downloading and printing, I want you guys to see the how-to here. Now, I also would talk about this. there's a lot of things about communication, a lot of things about talking over the phone. Of course, talking over the phone is just one of many ways that we communicate as photographers. There's a lot of times when someone will respond to a Facebook post or reach out to us via Facebook, either directly, like a direct message, or in a post. And someone may fill out a web form on our website and send that to us, and we respond to that. We may receive a text and we respond to that. We may be in person. So there's a lot of different ways we communicate. All those ways are still appropriate as far as what we're going to be talking about today, but this is specific to a phone call. What to do, what to say, how to sound intelligent when someone calls you, a prospect, someone you've never spoken with before, or maybe spoken with briefly, but it's not someone who you do business with all the time. How do you speak to a prospect? And this one is going to be very heavy on the family portrait side. And so if you don't photograph family portraits, that doesn't mean this is not valuable to you. It still is valuable to you. So what you'll do is just take, instead of the word family portrait, you'll put in high school seniors. You'll put in children, whatever is appropriate for what it is you do. That's what you can put down in your notes. But I'll be using family portraits for this. I use a script, but I do not read from it. It's just a guide to make sure that I'm covering everything that I want to cover during that call. And so I get that call. I have a binder with it in it. I pull that out and I've got it in front of me while I'm talking to them. That way I am making sure I'm covering everything. I want to, and again, I'm not reading this. It is simply a guide, and I don't recommend that you read it. I'm going to say that in just a moment. So I want you to follow along, take notes, ask questions, either in the chat or just interrupt. Either way is fine, unless there's a reverb. All right. So you saw what the script looked like just a moment ago. I'm going to tell you how to use that script real quick. Here's some directions. You're going to ask questions from step 1, and you're going to place a check mark in the boxes of the things that you are saying to them. And this is just to follow along with what it is you're doing, to make sure that you're following along. You've got a lot of things that you're going to say, and it's not the same thing to every single person. And so I've got several different scenarios in this script. And so you're just checking off the one or ones that you feel are appropriate. Number 2 is ask questions from step 2. And again, we're going to go over this in just a moment. It's step by step. 3 is select the best unique factor from step 3 based on the answers to the questions. Then you're going to close it in step 4. If the prospect, what I call waffles, you've probably heard this before, they're just not sure just yet, or they say no, then use one of the questions from handling objections and stalls. So we're going to go over the things that people could say and how to respond to that, because there's some pretty tough questions that people ask. And there's also some questions that aren't tough that we should have been prepared for. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over some of those questions and come up with some cool answers. Hopefully they're cool answers. I want you to keep in mind a few things. Remember, people buy photography for emotional reasons. I am talking about portrait photography. This is the Portrait Profits show. So are there times when people buy photography for non-emotional reasons? Of course. If it's commercial photography, headshots are not necessarily emotional, although they can be. But for portraits, people buy photography for emotional reasons, not logical reasons. Let me go back to this real quick. I thought I could make a change here, but I guess I can't. All right. Go back to that. I'm going to repeat that. So keep in mind, remember, people buy photography for emotional reasons, not logical ones. So keep the conversation on the emotional side. And of course, some level of enthusiastic. By the way, you can come across as too enthusiastic. However, they're calling you. So therefore, let yourself show. Just be you, whatever that is. If you're full of enthusiasm, be you. If you're not so full of enthusiasm, be you. Just be you. Also remember that people buy from people they like. And people like people who are like them. So look for ways in which you are alike to the people you're speaking with. And don't quit after the first no or the second no. It often takes up to 5 to 7 no's before you actually get a yes. And people aren't necessarily saying no, period. They're usually saying, I don't have enough information yet to make a decision. If they're saying no, period, they're getting off the phone. If they're still with you, they're looking for more information. So don't allow the no's or the things that feel like no's to be no's to you. Make them not yet. Again, if they're staying on the phone with you, they're clearly wanting more information. So it's a not yet. If it's a no, they're getting off the phone. I've got a couple of pointers, 4 pointers. Your tone of voice, enthusiasm, and genuine interest is as important as what you say. By the way, you probably see the word her right here. What I have found is that the majority, by far, of the people I work with for family portrait work is mom. And so I will say her all throughout this because it's almost always mom. So, is it dad occasionally? Sure, but it's like 1 in 20 times. It's just not that often. It's almost maybe even less than that. It's almost always dad. So yeah, you'll see me referring to speaking with her throughout to this. The more you talk, the less you sell. The more she talks, the more you sell. Number 3, the person who asks the questions is the one in control of the conversation. Number 4, do not answer the questions for her. Let her think and answer the questions for herself, even if that means it gets quiet over the phone. What does that mean? You're going to have awkward silence, possibly. That's not a bad thing. Give her a moment to think about what you just said so that she can respond without your influence. Does that make sense? All right. I hope you guys have that handout handy because we're moving right into it. Now, the one you're seeing on the screen is the one I use. And so you're going to see some things on here that are not on yours. You're welcome to take whatever you want from here. Use it. Do a screenshot, take notes, whatever you want. Your handout leaves spaces in here so that you can put your own stuff. Because a lot of the stuff that I say for me, you're going to need to tweak, of course, to make it your own. Like, for instance, can you see the logo up in the top left? Pretty sure you're not going to use that. You're probably going to put your own business name there. And if you don't do family portraits, well, you're going to put something else in that space. By the way, I have one of these for each of the different types of work that I do, but I mostly just do family portrait work. So therefore, I really don't have much need for anything else. But I do have one of these for each one of the things that I do. And I do recommend specializing because it's too much work for you to do things right if you're doing a whole bunch of things. When you're doing just one thing, it's a lot of work. When you spread yourself thin over 27 different things that you can press the button in front of, yeah, you don't have time for much. So focus in on something. Get really good at that. Maybe then spread out into other things. But focus, besides the time and energy you put into it, time is money, and occasionally you're going to be spending money on some type of marketing and advertising, Facebook ads, Google ads, maybe a mail out. Doing it for one costs less than doing it for all 27 things you have the ability to press the shutter in front of. So someone calls, I write the date and I write their name. Now, how do I know their name? Because they gave it to me. They say, hello, this is Joe Salazar. So I'm writing it down. Actually, it's probably going to be like Sheila Salazar, because it's almost always a woman that calls. A lot of times their first question is, it's along the lines of, do you photograph this? If you haven't done your marketing correctly, if you haven't defined what it is you do, they're going to ask, do you do this type of work? If you've done your marketing effectively, one of the first things they're going to ask is, how much? You guys have gotten that question if you're in business, right? How much does it cost? Some photographers get a little bit, I don't know, intimidated by that question. Well, what else are they going to ask? I mean, that they don't necessarily know much about photography. So of course they're going to ask how much. I come across photographers who were offended by that question. Really? Are you that much of a wimp? They don't know enough to ask a bunch of other questions. One question they know is how much. If let's say you have never bought a snowmobile in your life, I haven't, and you go to the snowmobile shop, or let's say you call the snowmobile shop, what do you know about snowmobiles? If you're like me, nothing. So if I call the snowmobile shop, I'm going to say, I don't really know anything about this. How much do these things cost? Well, let's start there. There's a question I know. No matter what the subject, I know that I can ask that question. How much? Now, you haven't earned the right to answer that question when someone asks you that about your business. Not yet. So I respond by saying, I'll be happy to discuss our fees, but may I ask you a few questions so I have a good idea of what it is that you're looking for? Does that sound like a fair response? I mean, I don't actually know what it is that they want yet. I could throw a number out there. If I only have one product and one option, then it's appropriate to throw that one number, one option out. It's appropriate. But most of us photographers have more than one thing that someone could buy from us. So therefore, you haven't earned the right to answer the question. Let me give you another way to look at this. If you have never been to a grocery store before, I would assume each one of you has been to a grocery store before. But let's say you've never been to a grocery store before, and you walk in and you're kind of looking around because you don't know what the heck you're doing. And you find someone who works there and you say, I've never been shopping at a grocery store before. Now, chances are you're going to be embarrassed by that and not do this. So this is a very unique scenario in an alternate universe. You walk up to this employee and you say, I've never been to a grocery store before. How much is a bag of groceries? If you don't know any other questions, there's one question you do know to ask. Now, how does that grocery store employee respond? They probably look at you like you're nuts. That's how they respond. But they probably say, it depends on what you put in your bag. So guys, find out what your clients want in their bag before you give them an answer to how much it's going to cost. I know because I made this mistake. Minor mistake, but still a mistake. Years ago, someone called about doing a engagement portrait session. And we had a great conversation. Everything was smooth, and I shared what it was that I do. They shared what it was they wanted. Everything was going great. We looked at the calendar. I was available on the date that they wanted to do it on, and they asked how much, and I answered that question before. They asked how much, and I just answered. And so once they decided, and it was $295 for the session fee. And once they decided what it was, they were ready to go with me. They said, "Do you accept credit cards?" Yes, I do. And so I wrote down their credit card information and started putting everything in my calendar. And I realized we hadn't discussed the location yet. And so, and by the way, that was before I started doing in-person. Well, it's before I started doing the planning session beforehand. And we're going to talk about planning session because it's extremely important. But it was before I started doing planning sessions. I would just do the planning session during that phone call that they would call me on. That's when I do my planning. Whew, I learned that's not the right way to do it, but not for obvious reasons. Again, back to this example. She said, again, we had discussed the location. I had discussed how much it was going to cost for the creation fee. And then I realized at that point I had not asked her the location. And so I said, where would you like to do this? And she said, the West End. West End. I hesitated a moment, and then I responded, I'm not sure I know where the West End is. That is the only one I know of is in Dallas. And she said, uh-huh. Well, I'm here in San Antonio. If I'm going to do a session in Dallas, it's going to be more than just that $295 creation fee, because I'm going to add in my travel expenses. Now, I had already given her the information. I had already told her what the price was. I had to backtrack on that and say, oh, I didn't realize. I am in control. I failed to get all of the variables before I gave a price. It's my mistake, not hers. I do this every day. She doesn't. I have to earn the right to give her the price. Next part of this, after I have responded, and by the way, some people will say that this is, so she asked, how much is this going to be? You may think that if I don't answer that question, that I am trying to either nickel and dime her or not tell her the price or divert the question. It has nothing to do with that. You had just simply not earned the right to answer the question yet, but you make it clear by saying, I'll be happy to discuss our fees, but may I ask you a few questions so I have a good idea of what you're looking for? And so far, everyone has said yes to that question. My next question is, who are you thinking of having photographed? Then we move into step one. This is rapport building. It's qualifications. It's the dominant buying motive. Again, since I specialize in family portraits, I'm pulling this one out, family portraits, because they are asking about a family portrait. If they were asking about a high school senior and I wanted to do it, I would pull one out that had high school senior, and I wouldn't be asking a question like how many people in your family. It would be a different set of questions. Got that part? So for families, how many people are in your family? Tell me a little bit about them. What are their names? What are their ages? And so I'm writing down names. I'm writing down ages. And then I ask, have you seen any of our photography? If they have, what have you seen? And what did you like about the portraits that you've seen? If she says no, I want to know, how did you happen to call us? Either way, I want to know how they found out about me, because whatever that is, it clearly worked. So I want more of it. I am likely going, if it's someone who referred me, I'm likely going to reach out to that person who referred me and tell them thank you for doing that. Now back to this. I ask a question that is an extremely important question. You'll notice it's bold. What is most important to you about your family? Now notice I didn't put family portrait. What's most important about this picture? No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking about what is going to happen later if we start working together. No, I want to know what's most important about your family. Now, this is one of those that they have to stop and think about. And there may be some awkward silence at that moment, but let her think about it. Don't encourage, don't change anything. Make sure you're staying focused on this subject. What's most important to you about your family? And let her respond. And then write in your notes there about what she says. Now, she might ask a question like, you mean about the picture? So therefore you have to focus it. Say, no, about your family. What's most important to you about your family? Now I'm going to ask several other questions. Like, do you know anyone whom we have photographed? Yes or no? And if it's yes, I want to know who. Will this be for a special occasion? No or yes. And special occasion, if that may mean there's a date, that may mean that means several things. But is this going to be a surprise for anyone? Is there someone who can't know about this? I don't want to accidentally say something to someone. Is it a surprise for someone? Also helps me in envisioning what it is they want to do. When do you need the photographs by? Kind of important variable. When do you need it by? How long has it been since the last time you had a professional family portrait created? By the way, vocabulary is an important thing as a professional photographer. I don't think you should use photos or pics or pictures or any of that other stuff. I think photography, photographs, images, that's good. And then create it. I think people say take photography or take a picture as the norm, but your goal is to stand out from the crowd. And so if you're using the word take a picture or a picture itself, you're not standing out from the crowd, you're putting yourself in the middle of it. So do things that cause you to stand out from the crowd by using vocabulary. And you choose the vocabulary. I'm not telling you what's right or wrong. I'm telling you that it's right to choose. How long has it been since the last time you had a professional family portrait created? And I also want to know if they were happy with it. Because if they weren't, I want to know why. I have seen photographs that were good. I remember a time, okay, this is 1994, so it's a few years ago. But a friend of mine, and I started my photography business in 1991. So I had already started at that point, but I really wasn't doing any weddings at that point. I had done a couple, I'd done a handful, not very many. But they hired someone else to do the wedding, which is fine. So they did not like the work, not at all. And they were complaining about it and telling me what was wrong with it. And then I got a chance to see the photographs. There was nothing wrong with them. They were fine. Just because you think they're good does not mean someone else does. I want to know what it is that they don't like just as much as I want to know what it is that they do. So, were you pleased with it? Next question is, how long do you feel it will be before you have another formal family photograph created? So we're talking about the past, now we're talking about the future. Most people don't do this very often, and I want to identify how often they do it. Some people do it every single year, like for Christmas cards. Some people do it every single year. Some people do it every single year right at first when the kids are young, and then they stop doing it. Others never do it. So I want to know how often they do it. And I ask a question that I feel is important in helping me picture what they want. All these things do that, but this one does especially. If you had a Saturday morning, a whole Saturday, with nothing on the schedule, all the honeydew items are complete, no financial concerns, what would you do with that day? Now, sometimes the answers don't help me put a picture in my mind of what location we're going to be doing this at. But a lot of times it does, because it tells me what they enjoy doing together. And that's what I want to share. That's what I want to convey. My goal isn't to choose a pretty place, because choosing a pretty place is what every photographer does. If your goal is to create custom portraiture, then photographing in the same place everybody else does it is putting yourself in the crowd. And you say you want to stand out from it. I'm confused. Find out who they are, what's important to them. Page 2, same subject. But moving on to step 2. By the way, you're going to ask a whole bunch more questions that are just listed there. That's just to get your mindset, just to get you going. Next, step 2. This is creating interest, emotion, and enthusiasm. This section, step 2, is designed to help get the prospect excited about working with us. I want them excited. You want them excited. You want them thinking you're the only one, that they're not going to call other people. So to attempt to try to do that, a lot of people will call others no matter what. But my goal is to get them to see me as the option, the one. So I asked this question: if you could create these photographs anywhere in the world, where would you have them created? If you could create these photographs anywhere in the world, where would you have them created? Again, helping me put a picture in my mind of who they are, what's important to them. It doesn't mean that I'm going to photograph in some exotic location. It possibly could. And once it did. They actually paid for my travel expenses to a beach. I won't say which one, but it was really cool. And it wouldn't have happened. And it was only them. It wasn't like I did, mini sessions at the beach. No, this wasn't that. And because we talked about that, we wound up doing a destination family portrait session. Pretty darn cool. So next question. Why are you thinking of having these portraits created at this time? Possibly the kids are growing up. Maybe they have a new family. Maybe the kids are leaving the house. They're high school seniors. They're about to go off to college. There's a lot of reasons why someone might do this, but occasionally you'll find out that it's not a happy reason. I mean, family, it's happy, that's love, but they may know something that's coming in the future that's not good news. I want to know this. I want to know it ahead of time. So why are you thinking of having these portraits created at this time? Next question. Do you see these photographs as being dressy or more casual? Dressy or more casual? Do you see these photographs as being more sharp and clear or more soft and romantic? You guys getting a picture in your mind? When I say dressy or casual, you get a picture in your mind. When I say sharp and clear versus soft and romantic, you get a picture in your mind. The goal with all these questions, to say it again, the goal with all these questions is to put a picture in my mind. As I'm asking these questions, I get to a point where I see their photograph in my mind. Now, I may not see their entire family. What I'm seeing is the scenario. I'm seeing the different pieces and parts of the things that I need to consider in creating this image. But that's the goal. I want to create a photograph, an image in my mind that is the destination. And then I plan a path to get there. So let's say it's a family with mom and dad and a couple of kids. I might ask this question. How do your husband and children feel about having these portraits created? I have found a handful of times that this is all mom. Kids don't want this. Dad doesn't want this. They're all going along with it because mom said so. Mom's got a lot of power. That's pretty darn cool that she does. I think portrait photographers might have to choose a different profession if it wasn't for moms and them making this happen. Yay, moms. But how do your husband and children feel about having this created? I want to know. I want to know if they're interested or not interested. I'm also going to ask about pets. Do you have any pets? Would you like them included in the portrait? I'm also very curious about a question that I kind of hinted on earlier, where I said, were you pleased with it? This goes along the same lines. Have you ever had a family portrait created that you did not like? If not, what did you like about it? Now, again, these are questions that I may ask and I may not ask. These are just things that I've thought about ahead of time to get a clear picture on who they are and what they want to do. What do you do together as a family that we might be able to work into the portrait? And the last one you can write as many as you want, but the last one I have here is, have any of your children had a bad experience with photography? Step number 3. And before I get to step number 3, are there any questions? I haven't been looking at the chat, so I'll stop the share for just a moment and right. The questions are mine. So the reason why those aren't there is because I want you to write in ones that will be appropriate for you. So if some of those are, well, then you can write them in. But someone asked that hers is blank, that those questions aren't there. It's blank on purpose. It's a worksheet. Those things that are important to you, you can write in. Those things that aren't are going to be a waste of time for you. And so that's why that's blank like that. And for those that don't photograph families, there's a lot of things in here that are very specific to families. And so there's no reason to give you a whole bunch of stuff that you don't need. So yeah, just write in that space what it is you feel you do need. Cool. So step number 3, education and unique factors. Based on what we know so far, select the factors that will be most meaningful to her. Now, this is based on what you've learned. You, again, do not read every single one of these. As you're doing this, you're putting a check or circling or something to indicate, I want to say this to her. And in your mind, it's because there's something she said that caused it. So while you're asking those questions, you don't immediately go into step 3. You wait until you've asked all the questions. You've got a picture in your mind, and then you move into that. So let's say that she said she had a bad experience with a photographer because the photographer created bad work. It just looked bad. She didn't like it. There was nothing about it that she was happy with. And it was a pain for her to deal with it. Well, I might have a good response to that. Once you've gone through all the questions, I'm going to say something along the lines of, and this is in that space, that box that's right below step 3, education and unique factors. I want you to begin by saying this and put these words in there. One of the unique things which separates us from all other photographers in the area is, I'm going to repeat it. And again, only put this in there if you think that's important to you. One of the unique things which separates us from all other photographers in the area is, and you can see that on your screen right now, right? Am I showing that? Yeah, it just went off. Okay. Right there. One of the unique things which separates us from all other photographers in the area is, and again, don't you want to stand out from all the other photographers in the area? Of course you do. So I'm going to say, one of the unique things which separates us from all other photographers in the area is our guarantee. We absolutely guarantee that you'll be thrilled, not satisfied, with your family portraits, or we'll do what it takes to make you thrilled. Even another session, or we'll give you all your money back. Now, I'm not telling you that you need to do that kind of guarantee, but I do. In classes, sometimes people ask, well, aren't people going to take advantage of you? They're just going to do the photography, and then you're going to do the work, and you're going to print it and get it on their wall. And they're going to say, I don't like it, give me my money back. No, because if people don't like the work, they're going to tell you long before they chose one to put on the wall. So therefore, it doesn't even get to that. And no one's taken advantage of this. And I've had that guarantee since 2008, I think. Yeah, 2008. By the way, if you get people who are taking advantage of it, it's quite possible that you haven't done a good job of targeting your market. Because not everyone is an ideal person to work with. There are people in this world that just aren't fun to work with. You know this. So do a good job of target marketing so you reduce those folks. Next one. Now, all the ones I'm listing here, you'll notice that yours is blank here because I do things differently. You may not choose to do any of the things I have here, but these are things that are unique to you. And I say education in step 3, education, unique factors. You're educating your clients. You're telling them what it is that you do, the steps that you do, the process, the things that are unique about you that stand out from others. What are those things? What causes them to want to work with you? You put stuff there that you can do this as your own homework assignment, or you discover and you write down things that are unique about you that you can share with your clients. So I'm going to share a few about me. If you want me to take a little bit more time, feel free, or just do a screenshot because they're here right in front of you. Next one, the time we spend with you beforehand to plan and coordinate everything so your portraits are emotionally meaningful to you. Next one, our desire to help you and everyone in your family look your very best in your family portrait. Now I want to remind you, I'm only checking the ones I'm going to say to them. And there's probably only 2 or 3 I'm going to say to them. I'm reading all of them to you because I want you to know what it is that I'm thinking. So I do not say these to every single person. I've said all of these to not one single person. I usually just say between 1 and 3, maybe 5 at the extreme, but it's based on what they have said. If they haven't indicated that they would have an interest in this, I don't share it with them. Except for the guarantee. I pretty much share that with everybody. Again, one of the unique things that separates us from all other photographers in the area is our desire to create for you a portrait that speaks to you, that every time you look at it, it says, we love each other, we care about each other. Next one, the portrait we create for you is more than a picture. It's a priceless, emotional representation of your love and relationships. My intent is to bring a tear to your eye every time you look at it. Or I might say, we want to create for you a portrait that is even more beautiful than you even dreamed it would be. It gives you chills because it's a window into the life of your family. It's truly priceless because it says what words cannot completely say. Something that is almost spiritual, that expresses your feelings towards each other. Now, it may sound nice, but I don't say that to everybody. I say that to those who I think want to hear it, who it's for. Next one, we will meet with you and your family before we do any photography. This will help us get to know you and find out exactly what you're looking for and what you want this portrait to be like. We are experts at fine family portraiture. So many photographers don't like to do family portraits. They will if you ask them to, but they're not really all that good at it. Family portraits are difficult to do, and we really enjoy creating them. We'll take good care of you and create a truly amazing family portrait, as well as an enjoyable experience for you. Or I might say, we'll help you with your clothing decisions. This is really important. The clothing can make you look bigger or smaller, and we found that many of the people we work with like to be a little lighter weight. Clothes can help. Lighting can help. Or I might say, we understand that many people don't feel comfortable in front of a camera. Because we understand this, we work carefully with you to help everyone not only feel good, but also have a fun time during the photography session. Or if it's appropriate, I might say, we create sensitive, truly meaningful portraits. We work carefully with people every day who feel a little nervous about being in front of the camera. We help them through it all and help them look fantastic. I'm going to go through these last ones a little bit quicker. Again, you don't have to write it down as I'm saying it, because you could do a screenshot. If you like these. If you don't like these, well, then take this time to write in your own unique factors. We do fewer sessions than other professional photographers in the area. We do this so we can take more time and create something meaningful to you, rather than rushing you through like it's a factory. Now, these last ones here are if someone else answers the phone. So I don't talk about myself saying Jim is a fantastic photographer. That's I don't say that. This would be if someone else was doing this. So they may say Jim is a fantastic photographer, and he's in great demand to create this unique style of photography. No one has his wonderful style of beautiful emotional portraiture. You can only get it here. Now, you guys can say that because everybody can say that. This next one is talking about easygoing and calm, loving both both children and adults, fantastic with children specifically, fantastic with pets specifically, the fact that I have a bachelor's degree in photography, all this kind of good stuff, respected by colleagues, okay, all good stuff, but unique stuff. You put your own unique stuff in that space. And then I want you to share your process. Let your client know what you do, what's coming. By the way, because when you're going through this happens very quickly because you're not reading every single thing I just read. I went through a whole bunch of different scenarios based on what someone could say. When you do this, you're only doing 2 or 3 out of those. And so it goes very quickly, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's probably 20, 15 to 20 is probably pretty normal. It goes long when there's a lot of extra questions. So yeah, it could go longer than 20, 30 minutes. But if you're just doing your part, it goes very quickly. Share your process. And I'm going to share my process with you right now. I have a set of steps that cause me to consistently create my best work. It starts with what I call a design consultation, a planning session where I go to your home to see the spot on the wall where you'd like to have your portrait installed. If you're not sure where a good place will be, I can help. In fact, most families I work with need help in choosing a great spot. Then together, we plan to get the most ideal portrait, and we set the date for the photography session. The photography session lasts up to an hour, and then about a week later or so, I present the images at what I call the portrait selection consultation. I bring my projector to your home and project the images in the location where you want it to be displayed in the size that's appropriate for the space. We go through the images, make selections, and then about 3 to 6 weeks later, it will be time for the installation. The way I charge, it's like a mechanic, parts and labor. I call the labor a creation fee. It's $400. And I won't ask for that until after you've approved the plan at the end of the planning session. So I don't ask anything right now over the phone. I don't want anything. This is free. The design consultation is free. If you want to move forward, then I'll ask for that creation fee, but not until you've approved the plan. You won't be charged for the prints until after you order them at the portrait selection consultation. Now, with families with two decision makers, sometimes you have single parent families, and other times there's two. And so in families with two decision makers, in order to have all concerned on the same page, both parents must be present. If one cannot make it, no problem. I'm happy to reschedule. I found that it's not fair to turn my clients into a salesperson for their spouse. If we're going to plan something magical, then both decision makers must be present. And then I give them what's called the volunteer statement. Before we go any further, can I give you an indication of how much you can plan on investing? I'm saying that because they asked for it right at the beginning, and because I want them to know. Before we go any further, can I give you an indication of how much you can plan on investing? Everyone says yes to that question because they want to know. I'd want to know. Most people in your situation can plan on investing somewhere between $800 and $2,500 and receive a larger one for themselves and a few smaller ones for gifts. Does that fit within your budget? Now, I'm saying that all out. I'm not taking any spaces. I'm not letting them respond. I'm saying that all out because I want to make sure they know that a normal range could be in that range. It could be lower. It could be higher. But a lot of people are right there in that range. I want to make sure that they know that's what I charge because I don't want any gotchas afterwards. It's not fair to them, and it's not fair to me either as the photographer, as the creator. I want them to purchase something. So therefore, I have to tell them ahead of time how much this is going to cost. Any questions about that before I move on? I'm not seeing anybody say anything there, so cool. Step 4, the close. Now we're going to get to objections and stalls because they will happen at multiple times throughout, but I have it here at the end. But the close, assuming everything went smoothly, this is when you ask her to set an appointment for you to go to their home to do that design consultation, the planning session. When you switch to the close, make sure that you stay you. Don't change your tone of voice. Still be how you've been throughout. Don't be disappointed if she waffles or says no the first few times that you ask. If she does say no or she is waffling, then simply ask why she's hesitating. Find out. If she gives you a reason for hesitating, use the appropriate response from the objections and stalls. So here's a couple of closes that you could do. And a close just means your goal is to find out what's going on, who they are, what we want to accomplish. And if it is a good fit, because you're just photographers, you are a tool, just like tools at Home Depot or Lowe's. You're just a tool. They need you for just this one thing. They don't need you for everything. They're not hiring a friend, although you likely will become one. But they're hiring a photographer. You are a tool to help them get what it is that they want. So make sure you see yourself that way. You're just a tool on the shelf at Home Depot or Lowe's. You must do a good job of describing what tool you are so they make sure that they get you. If you're a screwdriver, but they're looking for a hammer, don't say, well, you can turn me around and you can hammer into the wall with the back side of me. No, you aren't the right tool. If you are going to tell people that you are giving them the best, then do that. If someone else is specializing, let's say you don't photograph newborns, but someone asks you to photograph newborns, recommend someone else, find out who does this. There's people on this call today who do newborns. If you get those kind of calls, you need to refer them, and they will do the same thing in response. Give your clients the best, even if that's not you. You're just a tool on the shelf. You should know whether you're the right tool or not. And you should know the other tools enough to know when to recommend them. So to close, I may say, let's just set up a time to get together and visit. No charge, no obligation. I have next Wednesday at 2 p.m. How does that sound? I may say, let's get together and visit about this. It sounds exciting. That way you'll be making an educated decision about all this. How does Thursday at 3:30 sound? Or could you go through your closets and come up with a few ideas you have for everyone, what everyone might be wearing? This way I can really help you decide what to wear, so all of you look your very best in your portraits. And then I add in the how's Thursday at 3 sound. I may say, do you have any relatively recent portraits or snapshots of your children? I might say that if they're not going to be there. And a lot of times they're not. Let's set up a time and visit about everything. Seeing those photos will really help. And then another one is, one of the benefits of the design consultation is that that we can go over all the information with you. This way you'll be really able to make an educated, knowledgeable decision. So there's a lot of things that you could say on the close, but make sure that you've got some things listed. You may not use any of these. You may have totally different. You may have 15 of them. That's great. But know what to say when it's time to close. Now here's some objections and stalls and my responses to those. You may have someone say, I have to check with my husband. I'll call you and then I'll call you back. Is that one that you guys would expect to hear if you're a family portrait photographer? My response is, I understand. What do you feel he will say when you check with him? And I use the word feel, not think, on purpose. They may say, I'm just shopping around right now. I'll call you back if I'm interested. I understand. If you don't mind me asking, what are you shopping for? Maybe I can help. And the reason I say that is because I clearly have not done a good job of explaining to them what I do, or I am not it and I haven't learned why I'm not it. So therefore, I want to find out. They may say, I'm just calling around right now to get ideas and prices. I'll call you back if I'm interested. No problem. If you don't mind my asking what exactly you're looking for, a very similar one to the one above. They may say, I'll think about it and get back to you. Again, one you've heard a million times or said yourself. I understand. May I ask you a question? I'm sure there's a good reason why you're hesitating. Do you mind if I ask what it is? So I want to find out. I don't want to just let them off the phone because I still have questions. If they'll allow it. If they want to get off the phone, I let them off the phone. But usually what you hear is something about the price. That's more than I wanted to spend. I'll have to think about it. Yep, hear that one all the time. So I wrote a bunch of responses to this one because you'll know which one's appropriate. So one of my responses is, just suppose that we create a family portrait of all of you together that you truly loved. It was everything you ever dreamed of. If we could do that, would you be willing to invest just, and you put a number in there, mine says 400, that's not a correct number. Would you be willing to invest just $800 for that photograph? How about this response to the price? I understand exactly how you feel. Many people have felt the same way when they spoke with me, but did you know what they found? They found that even though the investment was a little more than they had originally wanted to do, they were so thrilled with the results that they were more than happy to invest just a little more to get something that they really loved. How do you feel about that? Another response to the price. I understand. If you don't mind me asking, how much have you budgeted for your photography? Most people don't have an answer to that, but some do. I may ask, how important are these photographs to you? Or I might ask, is the price going to be the major determining factor as to who does your family portrait? Again, just trying to get into their mind, find out what it is that's important to them. Another question I may ask is, if you don't mind my asking, how much too much are we? I may ask, how long will it be before you do this again? I may ask, how long has it been since you had a nice family portrait? Again, those are questions I asked before that may be appropriate here that I didn't ask before. Next one, come in and visit with us. There's no charge, there's no obligation. What you will learn will excite you. Then at the very least, you're making an educated decision. And then how do you feel about the things we've talked about? Now, finally, a question that you may get at some point, not usually at this point in the conversation, but at some point in the conversation, you may get this pointed question: why should I do business with you? Or why should I choose you? These are not unusual questions. These are questions you would want to know if you were talking to someone. And so I have a long response, and this is a response that I would choose parts of. I probably wouldn't give the whole thing. It's based on what someone might want to, what I feel they're going to be best benefited by. So this is the long version, which I probably won't give to anybody. Again, why should I choose you? My response, well, you shouldn't. Not until and unless we together come up with a plan for me to help you get exactly what it is that you want. Any photographer can press a button in front of anything, but I'm not just any photographer, and I don't work with just anyone, nor do I photograph just anything. I'm a tool, an experienced, educated, and specific tool that specializes in emotional family portraits as home decor. If that's not the tool you want, then maybe I can help you find the right tool. Families who work with me love each other. They spend time together whenever they can, and they're proud of their family. So if that describes your family, then I might just be the ideal photographer for you. Let's get together and find out. How does Tuesday at 5:30 sound? So those are some objections and stalls and my responses to them. On that last page of the handout, what you'll see there is some information about portrait profits and requests to like the Facebook page and go to the YouTube page and click subscribe and hit the bell. Just some general information about what Portrait Profits is all about. So I don't see any questions in the chat. Do you guys have any questions? You'd have to unmute yourself if you wanted to ask them. We only have about a minute left.
Did you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions? I'm not hearing any just yet.
Hey, Jim, I have a question.
Okay.
It's about the photo lab. Because I've been wondering how to see, I've been wanting to grow my photography business again, because all I did was advertise on Facebook a few years ago, and I was doing a lot. I started booking a lot of people, but you know, I'm a realtor, and so I'm busy with that. And so I really had to tone that down. I turned down weddings and I mean, different things, you know, because I just couldn't do it. And I didn't have the time to put into it, but I really want to focus more on it. That's why I'm here. And have actually started to look at some spaces because I wanted to, at Keller Williams, we've got a new building that we're moving into in May, and I may not rent an office from them at the new building. I may go rent my own office somewhere else, and also where it's big enough that I can have an area to take for a setup to take portraits. And so anyway, so I've been looking at spaces because I want to grow my photography business. My question is, I don't know about this digital photo lab. Do they, if somebody orders photos from you, now all I've done in the past was send them the digital photos. If, you know, that's what they would purchase. And so I've never been into the printing, selling the prints. And so does this digital pro lab, do they, like if you place an order, can you give them the address to send them to, or how does that work?
Well, as far as printing, they can do pretty much everything for you, but printing is a personal choice. Do you feel that it's the right thing to do for your business? And I'm asking that rhetorically. You don't need to answer, but do you feel that's the right thing to do? For me, it feels like the right thing to do. It feels like if I don't complete the process, then if there's more work to be done, it feels like I'm not a pro. I'm not a professional. I'm just someone who's dabbling in it, who has a lack of time, and I'm just not completing it because of my lack of time, not because I don't care about people getting prints. I want them to have prints, but I'm just not including it because I don't have time for it. And to me, that sounds like something a professional wouldn't do, but that's just Jim. You don't have to have that same opinion. To me, it's like if you hired a roofer and the roofer got the old roof off and then put your shingles down and then came to your, put the ladder back on the truck, came to the door with the bag of nails and was very happy about the work they had done. We did a great job. Hope you tell your friends, here's a bag of nails. I know you know how to use a hammer. Have fun. That to me is a photographer who gives the digital files away, because now there's times when it's appropriate, like headshots for your profile pages, there's different reasons, photographs of homes. This isn't portrait work, but photographs of homes for to market the home. There are times when digital images are the correct thing, and it is the last thing a photographer is doing. But when it comes to portrait work, to me, portraits don't stop at a digital file because there's still more work to be done. And even after printing, I think there's still more work to be done. I think there should be delivery and installation. And by the way, the next few classes that we're be doing, April, is about what all those steps are. We'll be talking about the portrait planning session itself, what to do, what to say during that portrait planning session. We'll be talking about the photography session from the sales point of view, not from the photography point of view, something people don't even think about, but it's an important variable. Then we'll be talking about the portrait selection consultation, from the preparation of it to collecting the payment for it. And then after the sale, the steps, the follow-up, the packaging, the delivery and installation, that will be the last one in April. And so that would be something that many photographers haven't really considered. But to me, if there's more work to be done, then the photographer should do the work. We shouldn't be giving our clients more work. I don't think clients hire service in order to get more work. They do it to get the work done. So if I hire a roofer, I want them to complete the job. Yes, I know how to use a hammer, but that's not the point. Same thing with digital files. Yes, people know how to use a digital file, but that's not the point. The job still has more work to be done. And that's just Jim's opinion. You do not have to agree with me.
Well, in expanding, and what I want to do with expansion, I think that and what I really wanted to focus on was children's photography. And so children's portraiture. And so I think that it would be appropriate and more of a professional standing with printing. That's why I'm so interested in that. And so, because I didn't do that before, it was just the easiest thing was just to send them those files,
It is easy.
And yeah, and that was because I was splitting my time in different ways. But I have to tell you, I am so, I didn't know that you had a bachelor's in photography. I have to tell you, I am so envious of that. I wanted to major in photography when I went to college, and my parents said, absolutely not. And that's what my heart is still there. I'm 56 years old and my heart is still in photography, still my desire. And my degree was in the dental field because my parents approved of it, but I don't even do that anymore. And so, but I minored in photography because they allowed me to, and so I did have some training, but I'm so envious of that because you got a bachelor's and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like heaven to me.
It absolutely sounds good, and I absolutely use it as a marketing tool. It's a unique factor. However, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone because it's not beneficial. The school that I went to was ranked number 3 in the nation, and they didn't talk about the business side at all. To have a photography program and not talk about the business side, that's academia for you. They are in a totally idealistic world, have no grasp on reality. And I'm talking about photography program. I know nothing about other degree programs, so I'm not referring to others, although people have told me dental's that just as bad and medical is just as bad. But we didn't have a single business class. And for someone to have a program and they don't train you on the business side is the majority of a photography business. It's about 90% of the business. Only 10% do you spend in front of the camera. So it's huge. It's a huge portion that is totally missed. And I think it's more the system. They don't hire people who have experience. None of my teachers had ever been a photographer, and I had 7 photography teachers in college. Not one had ever been a photographer because it wasn't required for the school. The school required that you had a bachelor's degree in anything and a master's degree in art with an emphasis in photography, which in some programs is 2 or 3 classes. And they think that is good enough. So, interesting. But any other questions about the call that you're receiving from a prospect? What to do, what to say? And for anyone? Nope. You got all the answers, or you have a homework assignment. Maureen asked a question, but I think Miguel answered it. What was that? Did I hear somebody say I have a question?
Yeah, that was me again.
Oh, okay.
If they call you and they say, okay, and when you give them a price, what do you say? If they were to say, well, that's just too expensive. I mean, what do you say when they make that comment?
Now, there's several different ways I respond to that. And you saw several of them already. But how else would I respond to that? I think is what you're asking. So first, I think a lot of photographers take offense to that. They get bothered, they get hurt. There's no reason to be that. There's a lot of tools at the tool store. You may not be the right tool. Yeah. So if you're the right tool, great. If you're not the right tool, great. I think both options are great. Now, just because someone says they think I'm too much does not mean they're not going to choose me. And so that to me is not a solid no. It can be the way they say it could be. But generally speaking, it isn't. They want you to convince them. People, they like buying, but they don't like to be sold. And so I don't want to push anything. I just want to share, here's what I do. Here's how people have reacted. And I allow them to choose me. Now, those who can't afford me, that doesn't mean they're not going to do business with me. I've seen many times where people have said, I'm going to save up, and they do. I photographed a wedding one time where the bride asked how much, which is a normal question, of course. And I shared with her how much, and that package was $4,200. So not my most expensive package, but $4,200 was the price. And she said, I'm gonna let the DJ go and have someone do the music for me, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna move the location to the
oh my God.
community center at my apartment complex. That's how she responded to it. At first, I didn't actually know what she was talking about. I didn't know why she was saying these things, but she said, she started now saying numbers, that'll take this much off, that'll take that much. She was figuring out how she was going to afford me. She had a total budget of $8,000 for this wedding. She spent $4,200 on me.
Wow.
So
See, I'm in
don't
the same
think
boat.
that someone, just because someone says you cost a lot, does not mean they don't want you. It may mean that they're going to do whatever it takes to get you.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat, girl, because I could care less on what I spend for when we have our big wedding on certain things, but I am saving up because of the theme of my wedding. And I know he's the best photographer for it, to have Daniel Grove do my wedding. And he's not in my price range, but I am going to scrimp and save anywhere in that wedding I can to have him photograph it.
There you go.
Mhm.
People will
Yeah.
pay for what they want. And if they don't have it, they'll save for it. And so your price has to be something that causes you to be able to reach your goals. There are more, this may be surprising to some people. There are more photographers that have prices that are so low that they don't even have the potential to make a profit than there are photographers who charge.
When is your appointment?
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe in 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah.
So you have to charge an amount that causes you to be able to reach your goals. Therefore, you have to define what that is. Prices are not something that are based on what other people do. If you're looking at other photographers, their websites and their Facebook posts or whatever to see what everybody else is charging, that's a curiosity, and I'm curious as well. I'm not saying don't be curious. I'm saying it is just plain, sorry, it's ignorant to base your prices off of what other photographers charge. It means you don't get it. It means you don't understand. Sorry if I'm being too direct. Ignorant just means you don't know what you don't know. It doesn't mean someone's dumb. Ignorant just means you don't know what you don't know. That's it.
Okay.
Thanks, Maureen. By the way, we've gotten well over on time. You're welcome to stick around for the questions. I love having question and answers. My next appointment is at 2:30, so we can't go that long. But I would like to have half an hour to prepare for my next class. So I am open to as many questions as you guys have. But just in case you want to leave, let me give you an exit. So thank you for visiting Portrait Profit, for spending your time here today at the Portrait Profit Show. I really appreciate you being here. Both me at Landers Photography School and Javi at Digital Pro Lab really appreciate you spending your time here with us. We're just trying to uplift the photography community, and you can help us do that by sharing this with your friends, by liking what it is that we post, and we really appreciate that boost. And Javi, would you share one more time the special you have for those of us who are with us today?
Yeah, again, just for one more time, or if anyone forgot or any late joiners, we're going to be doing a free 11x14 metallic print for everybody who attended today's class. That promo code is going to be metallic. That's METALLIC at checkout over at digitalprolab.com. All you'll need to do if you have if you've downloaded our ordering software, it's going to be under the metallic print section. If you want to just order through our website, if you go over to products and then go down to metallic prints, you can order straight from the website. And then there at the checkout screen, there will be a prompt to enter the promo code. And that's when you can do that. That promo code is valid until Thursday at midnight. And so, like I said, feel free to take advantage of that. Just as a thank you from us for y'all for being here.
Fantastic. Thanks, Javi. We love those promo codes, especially when it's like huge. Free 11x14 metallic print. You guys need to take advantage of that. Don't let Thursday pass you by and you haven't taken advantage of that yet. Take advantage of it. It's so easy to order, by the way. They make it extremely easy. So, and this being free makes it a whole lot easier. So take advantage of that from Digital Pro Lab. All right, you guys. Again, you're welcome to stay and ask questions. But as far as the message, we have completed what that's about. I'll tell you the subject for next Monday is going to be the portrait planning session. What to do, what to say. This is one where I do with them in their home. We look at the wall. We choose a spot. We sometimes go even into their closet and choose clothes. That's kind of weird, but it's happened. But that's what the next one is about, the portrait planning session, so that you know what it is you're going to be doing, and you're not wandering around some pretty place and thinking that the extra time you give is something that they like. Nope, they want to get the job done. They want good photographs. Extra time is not on their list of things that they like. So again, thank you for being here at Portrait Profits today. Thanks, guys.